Hello, my name is Kramer, and I presently do ride sharing with Uber. And in the past, I've been doing some Lyft rides as well, but I find that there's a difference between Uber and Lyft. Uber, in my opinion, tends to be a little bit more flexible because if you have like a ride, you're driving late at night and you see that your ride is perhaps over 20 minutes away, you are at liberty to basically reject that offer. Whereas with Lyft, in the past at least, if say for instance, if I'm in the Buffalo area, and if I'm saying I'm in the Buffalo area and then I notice it's like 2 o'clock in the morning and there's not that many drivers around, I would get like an offer in Niagara Falls, which would be maybe 30 minutes away. So I'd look at it and I had no other option but to let it go. Whereas with Uber, I can reject it. I can just say no thanks. But I've heard lately that Lyft has that option as well, just recently. Doing the ride sharing, has its pros and cons, or the driving for Uber or Lyft, it has its pros and cons. You get to meet very unique people. Initially, I started doing Uber back in May of 2017, which was last year. And I've been doing it for almost a year already, and it's quite an interesting experience. It can be difficult at times because I have a tendency to talk. I'm a very talkative guy, and I like to talk about anything under the sun, And sometimes with some riders, even though they seem to be enjoying the conversation, or they give the impression they might not like the conversation, so you have to be very careful. You have to basically follow the rider's lead, when it comes to conversation. And don't really get too much into a lot of political talk. And another tip when you're driving with Uber or Lyft, which I personally drive with Uber, by the way, when you're going to drive, I would suggest, especially on the weekdays, in the afternoon, going to the airport, starting out at the airport and taking it from there. It's a great idea, okay? And like what I look forward to in the Buffalo area, the Buffalo-Niagara area, or the Niagara Frontier as they call it around here, is getting rides going to Niagara Falls. And then after I get a ride going to Niagara Falls, I try to arrange my destination area back to the Buffalo-Niagara International Airport or somewhere in my town. So I try to get something going, like a chain going back and forth. But nowadays, considering that Uber stopped the amount of destinations you can do in a day, I think in the past it was something like 6 times you could do it within a day. You could have 6 different destinations within a day. It's narrowed down to like 2, so that can be kind of a problem or problematic in this area, because I always look forward to having those destination routes, especially in this area, going back and forth between the Buffalo area and Niagara Falls. Right now, as I'm driving right now, I'm going to go and I'm going to vacuum my car. In this area, in the Buffalo area, there's a few places you can go and you can vacuum your car. And it's a great idea. And there's a few places now that's free, actually. It's absolutely free to anyone. And the vacuums are quite powerful in this area. One time I had a vacuum that I kept under the passenger side front seat, and I would just keep it under there, and I would have like a power inverter made by or power inverter made by Schumacher, and it would plug it, and I plug it into a cigarette lighter, and I would plug it into the power inverter, and I would constantly keep the small hand vac, very powerful hand vac, charged. But then what I found is that it wasn't necessary anymore, because considering that I can go to these places in my area for free and just do the vacuuming, I just figured it's less of a hassle just to go there and just vacuum over there when need be, because I would keep the vacuum underneath my car, and some of my passengers, when they'd come in, they would put their feet against it and say, "Oh, what's this under here?" And it was just very, I guess, very uncomfortable for the passengers, and it was just taking up too much space. So I decided to put it up for auction on eBay, and I got some money for it. Not as much money as I expected, but it's money nevertheless. But now I'm sort of glad that I've parted with it. I've just finished vacuuming my car, and wow, to my surprise, which was a very pleasant surprise, not only did they have like a regular vacuum attachment at the vacuum center at the car wash where I regularly go to, or one of the car washes I regularly go to, they also had like another attachment that went between the crevices and between the seats and everything, so that was very nice as well. So I'm very happy about that. So there's definitely no need for me to have my own hand vac nowadays, so I'm really relieved about that. So that's great. That's one less thing I have to worry about. So yeah, right now I'm going back to the airport, Buffalo-Niagara Airport, and I'm going to see how much money I'm going to earn. I recently, before making this video, I went to go to get some brakes, and it was quite expensive. I suppose next time, I do this, I suggest to anyone, I think I should do this as well. I should actually invest in some equipment and attempt to do the brakes myself, so I could save money that way. So all I'd have to be spending money on is just the materials and so forth, and the parts. But yeah, I mean, it's a really nice sunny day in the Buffalo area, late April, and it's a good time to be driving now, because in my area in particular, once spring comes around, there are many people that come from all over to go up to Niagara Falls, and like I've mentioned before, that's the best way to do it here. Just hope you get a ride that goes all the way up to Niagara Falls, and once you get to Niagara Falls, hope you get a ride going back. And hopefully I'm going to do that today and earn some decent money. The problem is right now, especially this time of year, there aren't too many surges going on right now, so that is a problem. And larger markets such as Los Angeles or New York City or Chicago, from what I've heard, or even when I was in Cleveland, when I started out in Cleveland, Ohio, it was like on a Sunday morning and afternoon and evening, and I remember it was really busy, very lively, and I remember I was getting a surge which was the equivalent to maybe like a 1.7 or even as high as 2.0. So that was very good. So I was earning a lot of money, and I remember that day I took in, my gross pay was approximately $300, and it was really great, and I met a lot of different people, but unfortunately regretfully what I was doing when I was in Cleveland, though, because I wasn't really familiar with the Cleveland area, is that I was relying way too much on the navigation. And could recall going in my car and driving and saying, "I'm sorry, I'm not from this area." I had New York license plates on my car, and I would say, "Oh, if you know a better way, please tell me." And what I noticed when I was driving, you could see in my ratings were going down, because when I tried to follow the GPS and I wasn't paying attention to what my drivers were saying, you could see they were getting a little frustrated, and they asked why I was going this way, and how they felt reflected in my ratings. I noticed that I had some, I still had a majority of 5-star ratings, but however, there was a few 1-star ratings that were in there that really took me down for a long time. And to this day, I'm still recovering from those ratings that I had in Cleveland. So when you're driving, please be aware of what you're doing. And when you make a mistake, don't follow the GPS exactly, because it's going to lead you like in a long way. It's going to, you'll be better off pulling on the side of the road and finding a way, like a lot, to turn around and, go back in the right direction again. Right now, as we're speaking right now, or as I'm speaking with you right now, I am going into the cell phone lane, and I'm going to wait for some rides, okay? So I'm going to wait for some rides, and I will get back to you and tell you how I progress for today. See you later. Hi, I'm presently waiting in the cell phone lot at the Buffalo International Airport. This is like designated as a place for people who are waiting for their friends or loved ones or whoever, waiting for them to arrive at the airport. And this is a place where they can a safe haven for people to use their cell phone and call people at the airport, or accept calls from people at the airport, just waiting for instructions of where to pick them up at the airport. For me, because I'm doing the ride sharing, when I go to the airport to pick one of the riders up, there's a designated area, a ride share area. It's like a green sign that says ride share area, okay? And that's the only place I go to pick people up. If they instruct you to go other places, like underneath the awning of the Buffalo-Niagara International Airport, like right out the door of the baggage carousel or the arrivals, I would suggest not going there, because if you do, there's a good chance you're going to pay a fine, and crime doesn't pay. It's just like a $200 fine. So I wouldn't advise doing that, or even waiting in other designated areas within that area, which is behind and in front of the rideshare areas. Okay, so don't do it. Don't do it. I wouldn't suggest doing it. I remember one time I was parked in some area like a little bit off, and I remember the transit police, they came up to me and said, "What are you doing parking there?" And so I thought, no, I'm sorry, I had no other place to go. So just be very careful. At least in Buffalo, I wouldn't recommend doing it. I don't know how it is where you are, but in this area, if you're going to do it in the Western New York area, just follow my advice. Okay, I'm still waiting. Last time I waited here, it's not a very busy day here at the airport. I had to wait. It was like, when I arrived, there was about 18 cars ahead of me, and it was going very slow. And then finally, I waited here for like an hour, but when I was in the meantime to like make good use of my time, I went on the phone. I had to call someone in Albany regarding some tax situation, so I made good use of my time. But finally, when it was reduced down to like one rider, it still took about another 30 minutes before I picked up somebody at the airport. So it's quite a slow day here in the Buffalo area. And hopefully this evening will be a different story. But yeah, so it's just that's just how it is. But you know, if I wanted to, you know, even though I'm in the cell phone lane, I don't necessarily have to wait here per se, especially as an Uber driver. I just have to be within maybe about a half a mile, like a half a mile to a mile within the vicinity of the Buffalo International Airport for me to be in the queue here. And but for now, I'm just gonna stay here in the cell phone lot here, also known as Uberville, and I'm going to see how long it's going to take before I can get another ride from the airport, and hopefully it'll be to Niagara Falls. So if I'm not mistaken, there's about another 8 cars ahead of me, and I'm just waiting to get a ping to go to the rideshare area of the terminal and pick up a rider. Where I'll go, nobody knows, but hopefully it's going to be to Niagara Falls. Another advantage to being an Uber driver is the ability to just sit in your car and just have more me time. Just sit in your car all alone, turn on the radio, listen to some music, like classical music I'm listening to right now, and just relaxing and watching the sunset. Also, what I do is I have what is linked to the Uber app is Pandora, and in Pandora you can like listen to a variety of different stations. You can have like the rock station, the hip hop, the ska, the classical. But if you actually select a specific musician and you put in something like Peter Frampton, and you put in Peter Frampton, you may get one song by Peter Frampton, but after that you may get some songs that are like within the same genre of Peter Frampton, like something like from the 70s, some 70s rock music. But in order to get like the actual musicians that you want, I think you have to subscribe. So, but I don't subscribe. I'm happy with the free service, and I just put in whatever genre I like. I, for one, my favorites are the bossa nova and the ska, and what else would I listen to? Yeah, and those are the two that I listen to the most, bossa nova, because it's very relaxing. So by default, I would have that on my app, so to speak. But if, say for instance, if you're driving with somebody and you know, I may like ska, I may like rock or metal or bossa nova, but your rider may not appreciate it. I'm back again. I just picked up another person from the airport, and what was very interesting about it, the person I just recently picked up had the same name as the last person I picked up from the airport, so that was an interesting coincidence. But the ride, unfortunately, wasn't really that far. It was about a 15-minute ride, maybe 5-mile ride from the airport to maybe the east side of Buffalo. So it really wasn't that significant of a ride, but it was interesting. They were Spanish-speaking people, so I practiced my Spanish, which was very interesting, and I got a very good compliment from my Spanish-speaking skills, so that was really nice. Right now, I'm driving in the east side of Buffalo, waiting for my next ride. Usually it's not good to be driving around. It's better to wait and wait for your next ride instead of just driving around, because you're just basically wasting gas. And you know how expensive gasoline is nowadays. So right now I think I'm going to go over to some restaurant, get a little bit of a bite to eat, and then take it from there and hope I get another nice ride, and hope it works out very well, and continue to get a lot of 5-star ratings. I'm in the east side of Buffalo right now. I just got some food I'm eating right now. Usually, you know, it's a chicken fajita wrap, but usually I have a habit of eating too much at restaurants, and where I should be eating at home or something like that. But I just couldn't resist eating this sandwich. And right now I am offline. And just enjoying the sandwich. It is approximately, it's 7:30 p.m. The sun is beginning to go down into the west, and it's getting to get a lot darker out now. I'm on the road again. What I brought with me, I have these bottled waters. It's very nice, very small, conveniently sized thing here, about 8 fluid ounces, so it's very easy to take along as opposed to a full 16-ounce bottle. So this is very nice. So I'm going to hit the road and see what I get. Setting up my seat and getting ready to go. Quite a slow day today here in Buffalo, so I think I'm gonna head back to the airport and see what I get. So far today I have earned approximately $21, and I've been online for maybe 3 hours, so not a very profitable day today. And it's about 20 minutes to 10, and I'm on the west side of Buffalo right now, and I just picked up about 2 people since the last time, and they were very nice. And I picked up some woman from the airport, and she was a very interesting woman from Russia, and she's very athletic, and she told me about sports and the athletes in Russia and her country and so forth, and how training differs compared to her homeland. So it's been interesting so far. I had some very good customers, and I've had some very good ratings, and very happy about it. And I just received a message from Uber stating that my rating is increasing and I can continue to drive. So that's that's a quite positive. But the negative is, considering this is a Thursday night and it's not very busy, there's no special event going on in the Buffalo area, I'm not getting that much money. So far today I've earned $31 in maybe 4 hours, so I wouldn't say that's particularly great, but you know, I'm enjoying the experience nevertheless. All right, now, so it is about 25 past 11 on Thursday night, April 26, 2018, and so far I've earned about $67, and I've been driving about 6 hours. So is it good? I don't know, but however, I met some very interesting people. I had some very interesting conversations so far, and I've been reunited with a past driver, and that was very interesting as well. And so far, the drivers have been very friendly and down to earth, and I really like it. You know, I really like them, and it seems to me they're very genuine people, and that's what I enjoy when I'm doing these Uber rides. Right now, I'm going to head back to the airport and see if I can get yet another ride and see what I get. And after that, I'm going to just call it a night. It is almost midnight, and I'm parked across the street at a fast food restaurant, and I'm number 6 in the queue currently, but looking at the home screen of the app, I noticed on where the airport is located, it is covered in a sort of like a red and orange color. So I wonder what that's all about. Perhaps that must be a surge. So I wonder what's going to happen when it is my turn to go to the airport. Will it still be red? What does that mean? Does it mean that I'll get a huge serve? I'll get the 300% of what I make? Or is it a 3.0? We will soon see. Hallelujah. When I was just driving, I drove from the airport to the north part of a town of Amherst, which is basically the village of Gettsville, and I managed to get what I found out what that red was all about in the airport area was a surge. It was a not quite 3.0, but a 2.8 surge. So basically, for driving about 12 miles north of the airport, I got paid approximately $31. So for about a 20-minute ride, I got $31. So not bad. All right. So my total for today is approximately $98 in 7 hours worth of driving. So that makes things a little bit more interesting. And the guy was, even though I made a bad turn for like about 1/10 of a mile, he forgave me and he gave me a 5-star rating. So my 5-star or my great ratings are still going strong. So I'm really happy about that. Now what I did is, okay, it's approximately midnight. It's about midnight, and it's about, I guess you could say, Friday morning, okay? And I'm heading down to visit one of my relatives on Porter Avenue, which is near the Peace Bridge on the Can-Am or American-Canadian border, okay? So I'm heading down there. I want to see if I can manage to get a ride, and while doing so, I want to see if I can get a few rides along the way. Let's see if I can do that. The quest continues. I have another ping, and I'm going down a place called Depew to pick up somebody, and I'm wondering how that's going to work out. So far, I'm doing really well. I earned over $100 today. That's not bad. I mean, and I hope this continues, but I gotta call it a night soon. But I thought I was gonna go visit my cousin, but I think I'm gonna continue on and see what happens. All right, to be continued. It is approximately 2:15, and it is Friday, and I'm still driving. I picked up a woman from a nightclub. Was a very friendly young woman, recently graduated from high school, and very pleasant. We made a stop at a fast food restaurant, picked up some food, and drove her to her apartment, and I got like about a $2.80 tip out of it. $2.80 tip out of it. And right now I am after driving about 8 hours, I have earned about $121 recently. So right now I'm trying to get to the west side of Buffalo to see my cousin. So I am heading over there, which is kind of far. Hopefully I will get there within a reasonable amount of time. It's kind of like rustic, kind of little country. Rock and roll, Motown, soul, R&B.